Southampton Football Club is tonight the latest side at the centre of historical abuse allegations. Former players have waived their anonymity and spoken to South Today, alleging they were subject to years of grooming and physical abuse from a former employee of the club. It follows a series of allegations at clubs elsewhere in the country, revealing the potential scale of abuse in football. Our Home Affairs correspondent Emma Vardy has this special report.
After coming through the club's development side as a schoolboy, Dean Radford became a professional footballer with Southampton.
You're fearless when you're younger and you just think that you can take the world on. And yeah, one day I was going to captain England and lift the World Cup, which is, I think, every kid's dream.
From age 13, he would travel to Southampton on weekends from his home in Bristol.
Arrangements were made either the week before or on the Friday morning or Thursday night to let me know what I was doing that weekend.
He and other players, he says, would stay over.
The first night I stayed there when another lad stayed as well. It was very odd for me because this was the first experience I'd had of sort of closeness and he would be led on the settee. One player would be led one side of him, the other, I would be sort of snuggled up. It would basically, the settee wasn't big enough to take three of us, but he got us on there somehow.
What did you think at first?
Sort of, this is odd, because I don't know this guy, but he's sort of being this affectionate towards me. The reasons he gave were because of we needed to trust him. He needed to be like a second father to us. He needed to, if we trusted him and it worked both ways, then the chances were there we would become a professional footballer. If it didn't happen, you would think there's something wrong, or what have I done to upset him? Am I not playing well enough at the moment? Am I not doing enough sit-ups every night? Am I not dedicated enough?
And Dean says he would be asked to come into the bedroom.
I'd go in, it'd be pitch black, he'd be led in bed, under the covers, asking you strange questions, sort of, you know, how many sit-ups have you done this week, and how much do you want to become a professional footballer? There was other things, you know, in a car with him, he'd be playing soft music, love music, and putting his hand on your leg and getting you to lean over, put your head in his lap while he's driving along. And
another former player, Jamie Webb, also joined the club at 13.
I recall clearly that he tried to put his hand in between my shorts and my tracksuit that I was wearing, and I just blocked him. He used to encourage his lads to write letters to him, and he used to say, I want you to write a letter to me about how you feel about me. It's all right, he said, all the lads, they've all done it. Yeah? I mean, I look on it now and it just seems like grooming, really. Grooming.
As an adult, how do you look at that now?
Well, a definite attempt to abuse me.
I developed a niggle in my back, at the bottom of my back, from doing sit-ups, so I'd mentioned it to him. He then asked me to go back to his room, where I basically let down, and he
Dean describes a sexual assault. Did other staff at the club know about this?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the club itself, I do hold partly responsible for it because they must have known, they must have heard these rumours going around because everybody else had.
And rumours had been heard by another member of staff at the time, former youth team coach Dave Merrington.
I'd heard rumours about young players being massaged nakedly when we were playing other teams, and that disturbed me.
After hearing players talk on a trip home, he raised the alarm.
When I heard the banter on the minibus, I just felt, well, there's something in what I've been hearing and what these players are having a bit of banter about now. They were doing it in a joking sort of a way, but I didn't like it. One of the players I dropped off at the last one, when I questioned him, he just emotionally broke down, and it disturbed me greatly. So I said to him, did your parents know about this? And he said, No, he said, I couldn't.
Dave Merrington says he raised concerns with others at the time.
There was things obviously going on that we really didn't know about. I mean, and to this day, I really don't know how deep and how big the problems were.
Over the past week, an increasing number of allegations about historical abuse at football clubs has emerged. A number of police forces across the country are now investigating claims. The Football Association says it is now going to look at which clubs were aware of what was happening and what action was taken at the time. Southampton Football Club told us it will cooperate fully with any police investigation. Last week, the NSPCC set up a dedicated helpline for victims of sexual abuse in football. It's now received nearly 900 calls. BBC South has also spoken to more former Southampton players with allegations of abuse. Across the country, around 350 victims have now reported child abuse at football clubs to police. This former Southampton player asked us to protect his identity.
When it came on the news, I suddenly went back to 12 and a half, 13 years old. I'm not wanted, not needed, not had to talk about this. You're the first person that I've actually talked to, Emma, about this since I was 13. I was so scared about losing my opportunity to be a football player. And for him to manipulate my trust, my innocence as a young lad, to manipulate my brain, it makes me so angry because he stole that part of my life.
I'm not embarrassed, I'm not ashamed of what happened. I have a lot of happy memories of my time at the club, but it's tarnished by realising the environment that we were coached in.
The guys that have come forward from the other clubs, you know, utmost respect for them. I understand completely how they must be feeling. I don't want my parents to feel, because they didn't know how much it has upset me and what it's done to me. And I know if at the time they did, then I know my parents would have done something about it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying for 1 minute that I live my life every day down in the dumps, depressed by this, or because I'm not, because you deal with it. But you still have it there, it's buried there deep, and it comes up, and it will keep coming up for the rest of my life.
We're now going to give you the NSPCC